Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Inner Circle. We're talking about oh no, four different watches today with asymmetric dials. One is actually a duplicate, but it was such a good deal and a beautiful full set. I had to include it as a bonus. We are starting with the Breguet Classique. This piece literally has a dial layout that was borrowed from some of the original pocket watches designed by Abraham Louis Breguet. Um, the introduction of the piece belongs to Daniel Roth's era, where he was, as the master watchmaker, presiding over the modern revival of Breguet. Of course, you have the center of the watch, which is beautifully cut by a hand guided rose engine in this hobnail pattern. Then you have this wave like pattern for both the pointer date at 6 o'clock and the moon phase between 1 and 2 o'clock, framing that opening, which I find really artistic, right? Because on the one hand, the opening itself looks like a crescent. What frames it looks like a bunch of clouds. It's a really beautiful, beautiful piece. And then for the Power Reserve 2, you have yet a third pattern. Every single um, section of the dial is also framed by this kind of coin edging. The Roman numerals are laid out on a Breguet frosted track, and the hands are heat blued stainless steel, the crown capped off with a sapphire cabochon, one of the most perfect dress watches ever made. 36 millimeters in diameter, but wears slightly larger than that, with its straight extended lugs, beautifully decorated inside and out. As you can see, that fine fluting all across the case band. $3130 is the reference number. So it actually has a solid case back, which again, for the finery, for the sleekness, is actually an advantage. So the case is only 7.2 millimeters thick. And this is the 3130 BA. So you're looking at the yellow gold version of it. I think this is right before the Swatch um, acquisition of the brand. So you get an interesting transitional piece that aesthetically very much reflects the earlier era of the revival, even though it belongs to that transition from Investcore and then to the Swatch Group as well. The listing on Chrono 24 is for 14,500. Buy it now. And the seller who is a professional dealer out of Japan, remains open to negotiation as well. So you can always try and suggest a price. The second option, again, comes from a similar category. I think you can think of them as one-to-one competitors in a certain way. Of course, Lange 1 itself has a moon phase version, which in this size would be installed right in that subsidiary dial for the seconds, but this is not that model. Pink gold in the classic 38.5 millimeter diameter, one of the most iconic asymmetric dials in our time, and also off-center dials in our time, with the oversized subsidiary dial for hour and minutes shifted to 9 o'clock. In relation to that dial at 2 o'clock, you have the two guichet expression of the big date, oversized date. At 4 o'clock of that primary dial, you have an oversized subsidiary dial for the seconds and a power reserve indicator exactly at 3 o'clock in relation to that main dial again. And the watch has full 3 days of power reserve at full crank with its ultimate precision and accuracy, thanks to the double barrel movement. This piece is provided with a Lange presentation box. It does come from 2008, so still one of those editions that were built on a movement, which it was in turn based on the original JLC gear trains. Pink gold, silver dial, with the dial fixtures in pink gold as well. An interesting alternative to the Breguet that we have just seen, a little more substantive with considerably more wrist presence, I have to say, because it is almost 10 millimeters thick. I think 9.8 the official measurement, and 38.5 in diameter. Listed by a professional dealer out of Italy on Chrono24 for $25,092 US. Now we are changing genres and looking at quite a different piece. Integrated bracelet, one of the most iconic designs. Audemars Piguet Royal Oak in the reduced size case. This is the 25730 Royal Oak dual time in a two-tone execution, and from an era where such complications were in fact executed in a reduced size case. This piece actually comes, as you can see, as a full set. There's an additional link, the certificate of origin and warranty manual, and even a kind of slip case, which I believe is probably from a previous service rather than the original one, but you never know. You get the classic design of the integrated bracelet watch with yellow gold accents, beautifully patinated dial, which has between 2 and 3 o'clock a pointer date, between 8 and 11 o'clock a fan-like scale for the power reserve indicator, and at 6 o'clock you get actually an additional off-center dial for a reference time zone, which of course you can change up in any way you want. But let's say you are traveling with the watch, you can feel free to set your home time at 6 o'clock and just adjust the main dial, or vice versa, of course. Again, this piece is in decent condition. Most of the original finish still quite discernible, quite visible. The octagonal bezel still in good condition, not shaved off, and on the verge of disappearance, like you might see with some pieces from earlier periods or even from the 90s. As I mentioned, the piece is 36 millimeters in diameter, whereas slightly larger than that. Um, Maybe more like 37, 38 compared to a watch on a leather strap. And it's about 10 millimeters thick too. So a nice wrist presence indeed for the AP Royal Oak dual time. Full sets 25,730 is the reference number. This piece is listed by a professional dealer out of Germany with a fixed price on Chrono 24, and that price is 28,372 US dollars. And finally, I said I have a bonus because we have Alangonzune in yellow gold, Lange 1, reference 101021. The reason I included this is because it's from 1999, pre Richemont, and it comes with its original presentation box as well as the documents. So great sets, well worth a look. The yellow gold versions of the Lange watches may not always be the most popular, but they're also comparatively rare. And as it happens, yellow gold used to be the personal preference of Walter Lange, who revived the brand in collaboration with Günther Blümlein in the wake of the German reunification. So please give it a consideration. Again, you're getting the full package of a bygone era, late 90s, before the brand was acquired by Richemont. Listed by a professional dealer out of Germany. Less than $27,000, 26,963. That's the buy it now price, but the seller also entertains offers, so feel free to take your chance. These are the 4 pieces I wanted to share with you today. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me and ask any watch related questions. You can, of course, do that here on Patreon. You can find me on Instagram at young.brando, and you can write an email to me at lordhellespont5 at gmail.com. That is lordhellespont v@gmail.com. I look forward to seeing you again. Take care.